some of the so-called entitlements.
The President of the United States of America will never, ever be questioned. So some of my Republican friends want to take the economy hostage. I get it, unless I agree to their economic plans. All of you at home should know what those plans are. Instead of making the wealthy pay their fair share, some Republicans want Medicare and Social Security to sunset. I'm not saying it's a majority. Let me give you, anybody who doubts it, contact my office. I'll give you a copy of the proposal. That means Congress doesn't vote. Well, I'm glad to see you. No, I tell you, I enjoy conversion. You know, it means if Congress doesn't keep the programs the way they are, they'd go away. Other Republicans say, I'm not saying it's a majority of you. I don't even think it's even a significant, but it's being proposed by individuals. I'm not politely not naming them, but it's being proposed by some of you. Look, folks, the idea is that we're not going to be moved into being threatened to default on the debt if we don't respond. Folks,
it is certainly true that President George W. Bush proposed allowing workers to devote a portion of their Social Security contribution to a private account to invest in the stock market in pursuit of a higher rate of return. Now, the report from the Bush Commission on Social Security read, Social Security will be strengthened if modernized to include a system of voluntary personal accounts. Personal accounts improve retirement security by facilitating wealth creation and providing participants with assets that they own and that can be inherited, rather than providing only claims to benefits that remain subject to political negotiation, end of quote. But get this, it is also true that Bush abandoned the plan after Democrats denounced it as a risky scheme to privatize Social Security. It is also equally true, however, that both Democrat presidents Barack Obama and Bill Clinton called Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security without reform unsustainable. Their word, not mine. In March 2013, Politico wrote, Obama also warned that Democrats need to embrace at least some changes to unsustainable entitlement programs in order to achieve their long-term priorities, in the quote. Obama set up a bipartisan deficit commission that made several recommendations. When it issued its final report, ABC News wrote, the president has tasked commission co-chairman Erskine Bowles and Alan Simpson with devising a plan to reduce the deficits and redirect the country from its, wait for it, unsustainable fiscal path. The end result is a wide-ranging and controversial report that its supporters touted as a good start to a tough problem. To dig the country out of debt, it wrote, the plan put forth by the panel today calls for drastic changes such as raising the Social Security retirement age, making cuts to Medicare, and doubling the federal gas tax, end of quote. As for President Clinton, he too set up a bipartisan commission to tackle the entitlements problem. The federal government Social Security website wrote the following. On November 5, 1993, President Bill Clinton, by Executive Order 12878, created the Bipartisan Commission on Entitlement Reform. The commission, which began its work in February 1994, goal was to devise a package of proposals which would reduce the overall cost of these programs. The two co-chairs of the commission developed their own Social Security proposal, which featured raising the retirement age to 70, a cut in the Social Security payroll tax, with the money redirected into mandatory private accounts, and adopting price indexing, among other changes. This was perhaps the first advocacy of carve-out private accounts and of price indexing by a prominent mainstream group, end of quote. Wow, two Democrats monkeying around with Social Security? Were these Democrats seeking to use Biden's characterization to sunset these programs? You see, the federal budget devotes about half of its spending to these so-called entitlement programs. Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and now Obamacare. And then there is income security, which includes general retirement and disability insurance, federal employee retirement, disability, and military retirement, unemployment compensation, housing assistance, nutrition assistance, foster care, supplemental security income, and the earned income and child tax credits. Throw in national security and interest on the debt, and this leaves almost nothing left. So after conceding these programs without reform are unsustainable, both parties now attack any reform as risky and irresponsible. That's politics. Meanwhile, the clock keeps on ticking on Social Security and on Medicare, and that's the elder statement. When we come